Hi, Robert from the Netherlands. Thank you so much for your dazzling film. I've got two questions for Mr. Hanks. You're not well known for playing unlikable characters in your career. Can you elaborate on how did you prepare for doing this role and making him a bit likable maybe? And because I'm from the Netherlands, I have to ask, did you dive into his Dutch descent and his Dutch accent? And if the answer is yes, what did you find?
I think the Colonel, as I have heard from tons of anecdotal information, he was in fact a delightful guy. He lit up every room that he came into. Priscilla and Jerry themselves have told me that they wish he was alive today. Was he a cheap crook that played fast and loose with the money? Yeah, he was a little cheap crooky when it comes down to that, but they worked that all out to everybody's satisfaction. He was a man who brought joy into everything he did, along with just a little bit of larceny. I'm not interested in playing a bad guy just for the sake of, before I kill you, Mr. Bond, perhaps you're like a tour of my installation. That's okay, I get it, but I think that's for other stuff. And what Baz tantalized me with right off the bat was, here was a guy who saw an opportunity to manifest a once-in-a-lifetime talent into a cultural force. He saw that. He knew that about Elvis the first time he saw Elvis's effect on an audience. There was a moment that is very much taken from fact of the Colonel seeing some guy on stage doing something he'd never heard before, wiggling like crazy, without a doubt, a powerful force, but he wasn't paying attention to what the man was doing on stage. He was paying attention to the effect of the audience that was watching him. He realized that that guy was forbidden fruit. And you can make an awful lot of money on forbidden fruit, but you can also turn that into something that is much more of a cultural exchange. I give Colonel credit for doing that very thing. And I also give him the reality of being the amount of ways that Colonel Tom Parker cheated people out of nickels and dimes and dollars is extraordinary. And by the way, I've incorporated some of those in my own life now. So you learn a little something from every role, and as far as no one knew that of the Colonel's background. And there are some extraordinary tabloidy, melodramatic stories about why he left Holland and how he did. I like to think that, yeah, he was running away from an aspect of his past. He wanted to get out of his small town. He wanted to work up in the big time. And who among us wouldn't jump at an opportunity to do that very thing? I don't know if we have to change our name particularly, but as soon as someone said, I'm going to make you an honorary colonel, Tom Parker, well, he said, well, guess what I am now? Colonel Tom Parker. And that's a mercurial and brilliant man who at the same time made sure he lined his own pockets. I heard this great quote about Colonel Tom Parker in 1956. Someone said, so how is it, why is it that you latched on to that? Now, what magic are you working with Mr. Elvis the Pelvis Presley? He said, well, I tell you, last year my boy had $1 million worth of talent. This year my boy has $1 million. And I'm going to say about 10% of that was in Mr. Colonel Tom Parker's pocket. So that all worked out. God bless America, and who wouldn't jump ship in order to have an opportunity to do that?
Il est accompagné de ses